You know, gnomes have a lot of different uses, and I definitely have put them through it all.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my weekly vlog for August the 22nd, 2022. It is Monday, and I am Stephen from Bland Designs, and this is vlog number 277, and it's day 800 and something or other of COVID. I'm starting to lose count. Maybe that's a good thing. Okay, so let's take a look at what I've been up to, and let me just switch over the camera. So I'm working on a Christmas quilt. Now this is a weird looking Christmas quilt because it's kind of a squatty little Christmas tree. But the reason it looks this way is because these are all leftover half square triangles. And they're not all quite exactly the same size, so there's some jaggy connections between intersecting points and things like that. But I wanted to use them up because I had quite a few, and it's one of those palette cleaner type projects. That's what I call them when you've been working on a lot of other things quite intensely. Um, you might want to, just do something that's mindless and just go with the flow. So that's what I'm doing. I am building this as I go. I have a little bit of an idea in my head, but I'm not really sure how it's going all to work out. Now, one of those ideas, as you're going to see here, is I've decided I'm going to do some freestanding lace embroidery of stars and snowflakes, and I'm going to use these all over the large blue space of the quilt to fill that in. And I think I'm going to put a few down along the edges here on these parts, and I think that'll make it look like Christmas decorations, maybe. In my imagination, it does. On the side of the Christmas tree, but even more importantly, some of these little corners here that are a bit on the jaggy side, where things didn't quite match up, I can sort of disguise those as well. Now I have this big open space here, and I think I'm going to do a similar thing, see if I can find a freestanding lace design for Christmas presents, and I'll put those all under the tree here. Now, these are just pinned on right now. This isn't their final resting place because I do want to quilt this first before I add all of these to this. Now, this isn't really that big, and once you get the embroidery on it, it makes the quilt not very soft. So it's not really going to be a quilt. It's going to turn into more of a Christmas wall hanging, I think. Of course, the problem with that is I really don't have a wall to hang it on. But, depending on how it turns out, I might swap out a quilt on the wall at Christmas time and put this one up. We'll see. I'm just playing with this. I'm just having some creative fun. That's all there is to this. Okay, so that's what I've been working on. And that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week. Now, if you like comedy, and who doesn't, we all need a good laugh once in a while. Well, there's a couple of guys with a YouTube channel which are very famous individuals because they have made movies, they have been on TV, and they are a comedy team, and you probably know them. They're called Key and Peele. And here's my review of their YouTube channel. This week's YouTube channel is one that's all about comedy, and who doesn't need a good laugh? Well, these two gentlemen, Key and Peele, have been on TV over the years. They've been in movies, and they are extremely funny. Uh, they deal with everything, all kinds of different topics that they turn into, hilarity. So you can see here pop star sketches, time travel to the 60s, best TV show parodies, and it just goes on and on. So if you've got a few minutes and you need a really good laugh, then I suggest you check out Key and Peele. So you will find a link to Key and Peele in the show notes below. You'll find a link to this week's Stephen and Walter Live, and it was this. I entitled it This, That, and Other Thing because, well, it was just that. It was just a little bit of that and a little bit of this. But we ended up getting into a fairly good discussion about color theory um, as well. And it's very trendy, if you want to put it that way, right now, where people are um, taking classes online and in person about, color theory, the color wheel, how it all works together. And a lot of quilters for example, get really bogged down with their color choices. So we got into a big discussion about that. So if you want to know what our thoughts were on color theory and how we pick colors and things like that, and if you haven't checked it out already, check out the latest edition of Stephen and Walter Live. There is also an Idiot Quilter, episode 180. I called it Halloween Gadgets and Upcoming Events. So, yeah, it's got Halloween stuff, it's got gadgets, and we talk about an upcoming event that tomorrow we begin. And yeah, I'm going to say more about that near the end of today's episode. Okay, so that takes me to looking out my window today. And here it is. It looks like it may be a nice day. The sky's a little overcast. We had rain last night. We needed the rain. We could use more rain as well. You can see the driveway there's a little wet from the rain we had early this morning, very early this morning. Yeah, it won't be long before the green is gone. You can see a few brown patches in our lawn as well, which again, we need some rain. We don't often water our lawn during the summer. Of course, we never water it during the winter. It would freeze. But little humor there, maybe very little. But we don't much because for me, I don't want to waste the money on watering the lawn. If the lawn gets really kind of crunchy, yes, we will put some water on it. But you know, nature does its thing. And it's just a waste of water. I really feel it is. I mean, okay, so maybe your lawn isn't as luscious green as it could be, but you know, really, when you think about it, is that really a major problem in world? You know, there are parts of the world where they don't have access to fresh water, and here we are, very blessed to be able to have it in our own country here in Canada. You know, we have a lot of fresh water in this country. I don't think we should be wasting it, especially with the way, you know, global warming's been going. We might not always have that luxury, will we? But anyways, how did I get on to the environment? I'm not sure, but that's what it's looking like outdoors today. And that was taken at about 7:32 this morning. Okay, so that takes me to what's pissing me off this week. Week? Rented lips this morning. Um, and it's really people who take or believe that everything they hear on the news or they see on TV or they read about on the internet, that kind of thing, or see on YouTube is the gospel truth about things. And that's scary. We've all know about scammers who call us up or send us emails, and we're all very wary of that kind of thing, or at least we should be. Hopefully none of you have ever been scammed. I've come close a couple of times, and I don't consider myself a stupid person, but you know, scammers get very sophisticated. Well, the thing is, we know about the scams, we hear about the scams, and we're wary about that kind of thing. We should also be wary about what we read and hear on the internet and on TV as well. I used to teach media to high school students, as well as high school English. And that was one of the things we talked about with them. How do you know if something is really the truth or it is meant to manipulate you? The information is misinformation, things like that. Well, it's very difficult. And there is no fast and true way to figure that out for yourself. But I think you have to start off being skeptical. Now, I am not a skeptical person by nature. I tend to take everything at face value. But I have learned over the years that one shouldn't do that. Walter is the opposite way. He suspects everything and everybody all the time, to the point where I used to think that he was just a very, um, how do you put it? The opposite of optimistic. Okay. Um, you know, he saw fault in everything. But over the years, and with the increase in scammers and everything else, I'm starting to go the same way. There is so much information on the internet, especially these days. I mean, you remember the days, if you're my age group, we used to go to the library to find out things. Well, now we don't. We have one right in our hands. And it's a dangerous thing because the internet is not regulated, as we well know. Anybody can put up anything on the internet. So it behooves us not to be somewhat cautious and skeptical about that we read on the internet. Especially during COVID, there was a lot of misinformation going around. Um, you know, people tend to readily believe something that if it's well written, if it sounds like it's being well supported, we will tend to think it's legit, but it may not be. So how do you get around all of that? Well, you look for several different sources for the same topic. That's why I used to tell the kids. You see what other people's points of view are. Then you check the source of the information. Is it reliable? Now, having said that, you would think that news agencies today are reliable because, after all, are reporters not supposed to tell us the truth? That may have been, but now news is big business. They need advertisers. They want you to watch and listen and buy into their brand. So they spin it. And that's the term for it. They spin it in order to attract viewers. And if that means misleading, they will do that. You can't trust the news as absolute gospel truth. Now, it's probably closer to the truth than maybe from, something like Wikipedia. Everybody goes to Wikipedia, right? Again, Wikipedia is a valuable resource, but it's an open source. Anybody can add whatever they want to Wikipedia. And there's very little fact finding on Wikipedia, but it's all written in such a way that it sounds legit. And much of the information on Wikipedia probably is legit, but again, you have to be skeptical. So if you're looking for information on something, don't get it from one source. Find out where that source is getting their sources as well. And if it sounds too good to be true, that's an old adage, then it probably is. So don't get suckered. So that brings it all down to this. Who can we trust? I don't know. You may not even trust what I've just said here. And that's fine. You should be skeptical about what I'm saying because I am basing my opinion on what I have gleaned from different sources as well. So I'm not completely right either. I may be at fault of giving misinformation, not on purpose, but when we express our opinions, what are they based on? They're based on other sources. So I guess in this world, the best way is to be like Walter and just be skeptical of what you hear. Check it out. Make your own reasonable conclusion about whatever it is that you hear. Will that make us happier? Probably not, but it may keep us out of trouble in terms of being scammed. Okay, so product review. Well, yes, I have something to show you. I recently purchased a set of microphones, wireless microphones, that work with my iPhone. And the reason I bought these was because I'm about to do an on-site interview end of this week with a quilting store that I go to very often. And I wanted to do an interview that, you could hear. The iPhone is good for taking videos, but the sound quality of an iPhone, at least my iPhone, is not the best when it comes to doing an interview with it. So I went in looking for microphones that I could use. And the ones that I bought came from Amazon. It's two microphones, it's wireless. There's a little device that plugs into the bottom of your iPhone. And, well, they had really great reviews. So I thought I'd pick up some. They weren't that expensive. They're about 60 bucks Canadian. And so I'm reviewing that product for you right here, right now. Because I'm about to do an interview and store tour, I thought I should maybe upgrade the microphone system on my iPhone because that's what I'm going to be recording this event on. And I purchased this dual microphone, lapel microphone system. It's called wireless lavalier microphones. They're from Lee Reel Plug and Play. I did read the reviews on Amazon for this, and they were pretty much favorable. Um, and I also saw a YouTube video that reviewed this, and that convinced me that I should have these. Now, they're not terribly expensive, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on a wireless microphone system for my iPhone because I won't be using it all that often. But this one appealed to me as well because one of its features is its noise reduction or cancellation system on it, like background noises. So I got it the other day, and it came in this neat little black box, which is sort of reminiscent of the charging box you use on a set of buds for the iPhone. And so I got it out of the box. I didn't charge it up. It already had a charge on each of the devices, and I gave it a test. And so far, I'm fairly impressed. The sound quality is good. The noise reduction feature does seem to work. And the idea of two microphones is that when I'm doing an interview, I can be wearing a microphone and my interviewee can be wearing a microphone as well. The distance they claim is up to about 65 feet. Um, and it does seem to pick up from a distance, but of course the sound quality does deteriorate, at least in the loudness of that. Um, well, that is if you're not wearing it, of course. So that was kind of a stupid test that I did with that because you'd be wearing these. They have a little clip on them for clipping them onto a pocket or a collar or the edge of your shirt. That seems to work very well. And as I'm making this, I am charging them fully in the case. Now, the one little piece that you connect to it, and let me see if I can show another picture of it. Let's see, something here clear. That's what the microphones look like. And they really don't show you, but there is this one piece that, oh, well, they show you here. Yeah, that piece goes into the bottom of your iPhone, and that doesn't need to be charged. It's powered by the phone itself. That was a little confusing at first until I read the fine print, but that's okay. That makes it work. It worked right out of the box. I didn't have to install any apps for it whatsoever. The iPhone recognized it and it recorded well. The sound was very, very clear. So I am very impressed with this product for what it costs, $59.99 plus tax in Canadian dollars. We'll see over time how it lasts. One of the complaints I read on a review was that over time, the rechargeable battery system that's embedded in these devices deteriorates. But then again, that happens on all devices that you recharge over time. And as I said, I won't be using this often, so it should last me quite a while. We shall see. So I guess the real test of this is going to be when I do the actual interview. And I'm hoping this works in the way that I want it to work. But for the moment, I'm impressed. So those microphones are going to get their workout when I do that interview next week. And actually, maybe before then, because something I'll talk about in a few minutes, we're going off on a little couple of day excursion, and I want to take some video when we're there, and I will need those microphones as well. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, so that takes me to what I usually do at this time is show you what I'm making on my 3D printer. And right now, nothing new. I'm still making those gnome jars you saw in the teaser. My idea with those are they're going to be potential Christmas presents. I'm going to fill them with Christmas candy and put a bow on them, and they're going to be part of the little Christmas gifts I give to, you know, like ladies at Ultimate Sewing and things like that at Christmas time. Yeah, when else will I give them? Right? So we'll see. But you know, I'm finding there isn't anything else more I want to print. I've saturated my, well, you know, I've got a ton of things. So I'm still looking for something. I want to make things that are useful, things that I could give to other people that they would find useful as well. Um, so I'll just have to keep hunting for that kind of thing. Um, you know, hey, if you've got any ideas. Now, you have to remember, I am somewhat limited because I can't really design my own things because I don't know how to use the CAD programs that people use to do that. Yes, I could probably learn how to do it, but right now I'm not that interested in spending a lot of my time learning that. It eats into my quilting time, and that's my main thing, right? Um, so, you know, if you have ideas, though, I might be able to find things that other people have already made that I can do a little bit of minor alteration to some of the models that are out there. But, well, we'll have to see. So, anyways, I'm sure something will inspire me at some point. Things do. So, speaking of inspiration, I wish we were traveling here again, but we're not. So, I have to relive my memories from my past trips to Australia. And now, in this week's edition, we have our trip to moving our way on to Perth, which is pretty much the far western part of Australia. It's kind of like traveling from where I live here outside of Toronto to Vancouver. There it's like Sydney to Perth. And yes, we did have to fly for this one. So here's my uh, memory of that.
Okay, so this is the Adelaide Airport, and this is the next stage of our Australian adventure as we get a flight later on to Perth. It's only about a two and a half hour flight, I think, isn't it? How long's the flight?
I'm not sure.
Okay, that's gonna help. But anyways, so here we go. And so we've just gone through security and checked our bags, and now we got a bit of a wait because it's only 10:30 and our flight does not leave until after 2 o'clock. So we got a little while here. Looks like there's stores and things and restaurants, so we can go and explore this terminal. Yeah. So we're killing some time here, just taking a wander through the airport. This is the part that doesn't have any shopping in it. But out here you can see the airplanes waiting to board and take off. Adelaide in the background. Okay, here's what Australians consider winter wear. Oh my God, come to Canada right now. This will not do at all. They've got what?
Ones that look like those.
Oh, do they do? Yeah, well, it gets that cold here. Okay, so we've landed at the Perth Airport, Virgin Airlines. It's not really a thrill. A lot of people can't read. They had half us get in at the back of the plane, walk across the tarmac, and get up on and climb up the stairs. Well, a whole bunch of them didn't read the sign, so we had a gridlock in the middle of the plane, which nobody seemed to want to budge from. Kind of like lemons. Probably one didn't read the sign, went the wrong way, and everybody else behind them followed along. It was pretty dumb. I don't know if I'd recommend Virgin or not again. Plane was a small one, and I got seated next to an desk. Oh well, he was a quiet enough, so he was just a spreader. But whatever. We're here now. That's all that matters. Okay, so we're in Perth, and here's our room in Perth. It's the Dina Hotel, which is the chain we stayed in when we were in Melbourne. Yeah, and has interesting things. They tempt you with bottles of wine and water and snacks in the fridge, out on the counters and everything, which all can be yours for a price. Television set. This is a one-bedroom apartment again. Have no idea what this thing is over on the top, but there's one in the bedroom as well. It looks like a whiteboard. I don't know. Take notes. We are in Western Australia, so we have the cowhide chair, I guess. don't know, we have a little table. Oh yes, and we do have a balcony. Now the difference here in Perth, in this hotel, is that we actually have a table and chairs on the balcony. We had a huge balcony in Melbourne, no table,
We're overlooking the bus.
no chairs. And we're overlooking what? The bus terminal?
Bus terminal.
Oh, well, that's a lovely view there. We have a little study area, work desk, whatever you want to call it, right here. And of course, the bedroom. And at least in this one, we do have a TV in the bedroom, whereas the hotel we came from in Adelaide did not have it. It had only one TV in the living room, not in the bedroom. And there's that mysterious white block again. Still don't know what that's for. Now, we do have a little hallway here off the bedroom that takes you into, of course, this is the closet, but takes you into the bathroom. It's a big bathroom. Not that I care how big it is. It's a big bathroom, shower tub, usual kind of stuff. Plus, of course, we do have our washer and dryer. It's a top-loading washer by the looks of things, instead of a front load, but I don't care, as long as it washes clothes in the dryer. And we'll see how many hours it takes to do laundry in these. And then we have another door that takes us out to the living room again, and our kitchen. So you've got a kitchen, and you've got the stove, the oven. Again, no coffee maker, just instant coffee with a tea kettle. Dishwasher, which is the same brand, same dishwasher exactly as what we had in Adelaide, so we know how to run that one. The microwave is in here as well. They have a toaster, and they gave us all the dishes and everything and whatnot. And then of course our fridge is in this closet. And as you can see, they stocked us, not for free, with beer and other drinks and water and wine and things like that. Again, all for you at a cost, of course. So yeah, this is our home away from home for the next, how many days are we in Perth? 7 days in Perth. So I think it will do. I guess it has to do, since we're here. So anyways, we have to go out and do some essential shopping, i.e. we need to get booze. So Walter's been studying maps and things to figure out where we go from here. And I don't know what we're doing for dinner yet. We haven't talked about it. We had a large lunch. Schnitzel! Actually, schnitzel parmesan. That's just chicken schnitzel with tomato sauce and cheese on it. It wasn't too bad. It was pretty big. That was at the airport. And then they fed us on the Virgin Airlines. They gave us a sandwich and a bag of pretzels, which was fine. Actually, the sandwich was edible. So that's something. Although, as I already mentioned before this video here, or this section of the video, about the little lemmings who couldn't read the sign. One person didn't read the sign that said we were supposed to get in for our rows at the back of the plane. We did that, a bunch with others, but somebody else didn't read it and decided to go at the front of the plane, and all the little lemmings followed right along, not questioning. So we had a huge gridlock on the plane. It was fun.
They didn't have anybody directing people.
No, of course not. You know, no frills, no thrills, and everybody is staring at each other going, how do I get around you? And then it doesn't help when they're all trying to take off their huge backpacks, their carry-ons, which have a week's worth of stuff in those because they don't want to check a bag. And flying, you know, if I could grow wings, I'd go that way, because flying is not enjoyable anymore, no matter what. And you pay for these lovely unpleasantries and not at all. But anyways, we're here in one piece, so that's all that matters. And it was a short flight. It was only 3 hours, which that's okay in itself too. And so our hotel is right across the street from the convention center. Okay, so this is the business district of Perth, and I'm going to take a short little video here because we'll be doing this a lot more detail in the time here. Just to give you an overview of it. So we found a grocery store and we found a bottle shop and stocked up on what we need for tonight. And Walter's looking in the cupboard for cooking utensils because we're going to do tacos. Now when I say we, I mean Walter's going to make tacos. And then we're gonna crash. And I'm tired. Of course, it is 2.5 hours later for us in real time for Perth because Perth is 2.5 hours behind Adelaide time. So, anyways, we're here. We'll get a nice start tomorrow and see what this city has to offer then. And Walter's washing all the plates that come with the place first because he saw something on TV that said they don't wash these very well.
Grater will work for this kind of cheese.
Why won't it work with this kind of cheese?
It's kind of small.
So use a small piece of cheese. Oh well. Yeah, first world problem.
So that takes me to what's been happening the last week. Well, the big thing that happened this week was I was on a 3-day intensive course at Whirls and Swirls, which is my long arm dealer, to learn how to use the computerized program that I bought a couple of months ago for my long arm. And as you know, it's called Quilt Path. It is very, very verbose and has a very steep learning curve. So I signed up for this 3-day course, very intensive, very expensive, over $600 for the course. And I did that on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this past week. Very good. The lady who did the presentation was excellent. She knows the stuff like the back of her hand. My only criticism, well, I have several criticisms of this, and this does not mean that I was disappointed, okay? I learned a lot. I learned way too much. It's going to take me a long time to decipher what I have learned. But luckily, along with the course came a manual. And that is something that was worth the price of admission because the company that put out Quilt Path, yeah, they didn't give you a manual. You were on your own, basically, as to how to learn the program. That's the other reason why I took the course. The instructor for the course, as I said, knew everything about that. My only criticism is really of her was she went really fast. Now, she had no problem, though, if you couldn't keep up, of going back over things. She took questions and answered them. The other thing that kind of bothered me was that she was so enthusiastic about what she was teaching us and that sometimes she would go off on a tangent, and those tangents went way beyond the scope, in my opinion, in the scope of what she was teaching at that moment in time, and I found that a little annoying. And I did voice my concern about that to the organizer of at Whirls and Swirls, Tracy. And I think she did mention it to the instructor as well, because that was the first day. The next 2 days, it was a little bit more reined in. But you know, that's a minor criticism, really, of the whole thing. Also, oftentimes I have found, and this is the teacher in me coming out, people who do presentations tend to, they know their stuff, but they're not trained on methods for delivering it. So, you know, she was a good instructor in terms of the content and everything. A little, maybe if she'd had a little training in being up in front of people. I mean, yes, she's done this many times. She's very, very experienced with it, but that experience doesn't necessarily always translate into excellent teaching skills. Now, I don't want this to sound like a criticism of her, okay? And I'm probably being very picky, and I enjoyed the 3 days. I learned a lot from it, okay? So I'm just saying, and unfortunately, because I was a teacher, I'm being a little over critical, okay? But it was good. So I learned a lot. I'm glad I've got the manual, and I can't wait to get started trying some of the things that I learned. Okay, we were out on Friday. Now, you may have noticed, those of you that follow So Chatty, that we did not have an edition of So Chatty this past week, and that was because, one, I was at the course on Friday. Walter and I usually do So Chatty on Friday afternoons. I'll record it then around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I put it up. Well, I was at this course till 5, and we needed to be over at my sister's place at 5:30. She was having us over for dinner for a barbecue. So chatty did not get up this past week, but we'll make it up to you if you're disappointed. I don't know, maybe you are. Um, we'll be putting up So Chatty this week, and it's going to feature something I'm going to talk about in a moment. But back to my sister's dinner. It was lovely. We had a barbecue that my nephew did ribs on their great big green egg smoker. They came out really nice. And it was nice, since my mother's passed away and my father's gone, my brother's out in BC. Basically, my only family is my sister and my nephew and niece and my sister's husband. And when my mother was still alive, my sister and I spoke with each other more often than we do now. And isn't that often the way? When your parents are gone, the ties with the rest of your family tend to weaken. At least that's maybe not for all families, but for me, that's what I'm finding, and I don't want that to happen. So yeah, it was nice. I guess it's our turn next to have them over here for dinner, so we'll have to figure that out maybe in September or something. And so what else this week? Well, someone mentioned on Stephen and Walter Live they'd like to see more of Ontario, where I live. And this came from somebody who lives, I think, in Korea. That's one of our regular subscribers on Stephen and Walter Live. And yeah, we take our own country for granted. To us, it's boring. But maybe in other parts of the world, it's, they're more interested in it. So I will try when we go out to take more video of the countryside and things like that. But in the meantime, I thought I would take some video of our container garden. Now, you've seen pictures of it before, and I think last week I showed you pictures of our red peppers. I'm really excited about those, and we're getting more peppers, which I'm not sure how big they're going to get because, I mean, this is now the second part, late August. So, our growing season, I mean, we have maybe another month of it. Things are starting to slow down now, and our little container garden's getting a little ratty looking as well. But I thought I'd show you what it's looking like right now and talk a little bit about it. So I'm going to insert that little video clip in here now.
So I thought you'd like to see how our container garden is doing now that it's mid-August, actually moving into late August. So you can see here, these are our large tomatoes. I'm not sure if they're beefsteak tomatoes or not. They're coming on quite nice. Big, but they're still very green. So I don't know. I hope they ripen up soon. And then you can see here, that is lettuce. And it has bolted, and that means that it's flowered, and you don't want to eat it after it's flowered because it'll be very tough and bitter. So that's just sitting there. That's the end of that. That's a basil over there, and the one that's very twiggy on the top is a basil I had all winter long that I brought in from the garden, from the container garden last year, and it did survive the winter, and it's got little sprouts on it, but I don't think it's going to do much of anything. But what I'll plan to do is, we have more basil out here, and I'm going to bring some of the basil in at the end of the month probably, get it climatized inside, and see if I can have infinite basil during the winter. That's the heather that my sister gave us at Easter time. So we've had it for a while. Was it Easter? Yeah, I think it was Easter. It's been out here the whole summer, and I think it's still alive, but I don't know what to do with it. I'll probably bring that indoors too and see what happens. Now, Walter did plant from seed more lettuce, and you can see it's not growing very fast, not like it did at the earlier part of the summer. It may have been too hot out here or whatever. All of our lettuce came on at one time, and you just can't keep up with it for eating it. We even gave some of it away, but yeah. And this is a pepper plant, and you can see there is a pepper down here, but Walter thinks this might have been a seed pack, because this was a seed pack, of mixed peppers, because that doesn't look like it's a green pepper. That almost looks like it could be a hot pepper of some sort, but we'll see. Now, I don't think this plant is going to give us much more. There are some little buds down in here, but I just have a feeling it's getting too late in the season for it to do anything. Of course, we have parsley coming out of our ears, and I don't even know why we plant parsley, except that it's a lovely green plant, because really, we don't use it that much. And there's some I think that's tarragon. These ones right here. And this is lemongrass. We haven't used that much either. And here, of course, is more basil, but it has gone to flower. Now, I did pick off some of the flowers earlier in the week, but it has sprouted more, and I'm not really sure what that's going to do to the basil's flavor. Now, here is the green pepper plant, which actually has gone to red peppers. And you can see we've got 3 good, healthy red peppers right there on the vine. I don't want to pick them yet until they get a little redder. And yeah, we're gonna have to eat those up because there's just no way to really preserve them that I know of. And here's some little green ones though. And actually in one day they've actually gotten a little bit bigger, and there's more tiny ones there. So we'll see what happens with those. There's a few underneath as well. So we may have still a few, maybe smaller green peppers before the season's out. Of course, this plant, I don't know what it's called, but it's a beautiful plant. It does very well out here. Now, in here we've got some, I think it's thyme, or it might be rosemary, and some chives, and they've all gone pretty much wild because we haven't used those up. And here's another basil that's seen better days. More of the lettuce from seeds. I don't think we'll get much out of that. Here's another pepper plant right here, and it hasn't done much at all. Walter just told me that this one is French tarragon, so we haven't used that either. We have these herbs, but we haven't really used them. But they look nice when they're out. Now, things aren't looking as fresh as they did earlier in the summer season, but we're coming to the end of it. So, yeah, but it's still green, and I like the green. And now we have some cherry tomatoes, or grape tomatoes. I'm not sure which they are. Walter just picked a whole bunch off of here that were all ripe this morning off these 2 bushes, and we have more of these little tomatoes than we know what to do with. And more lettuce that he's planted from seed. Again, I don't think we're going to get much out of that. It's too late. But now this...
We'll get lots because lettuce likes cool weather.
Well, Walter thinks we're going to get a lot because he says lettuce likes cool weather. So we shall see. I don't know. Can we grow it in the snow? I doubt that. So here we have another pepper plant. And this one was from seed, and it's gotten quite big. And it's got some green peppers, as you can see right under here, coming on it. So that's good too. The sad part about it is, how do we preserve peppers? Like, I'd really like to keep them in their whole state, but I'm going to have to find some recipes. Maybe stuffed peppers, we could have that. So, yeah, it's been fairly successful, but I do need to show you one thing. The squirrels have discovered that there are tomatoes up on this level. You see, we have another level in our backyard down here, and Walter has sort of like the leftovers growing in these blue recycle bins, and there's some tomatoes down there, and there's some more lettuce. The bunnies, though, have discovered there's lettuce there, and they come over and they just put their little heads over the edge and nibble off the tender tops. And there's a couple of things over there, and I have no idea what's in them. Not much. I don't know. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's people in the forest behind us. Looks like they might be having tractor rides or something. I don't know, but they're kind of noisy. So here's what the squirrels have decided to do to our tomatoes. I thought Walter had stuck this tomato. I didn't see the bites out of it. First, I thought Walter had put the... Oh my God, they're noisy. You hear that? They're over there behind the trees. I don't know what they're doing. I think they're taking kids for a ride. I don't know what's going on over there. That's the Boy Scout Reserve behind us. So anyways, as I was saying, I thought Walter put this up here on the deck. He did not. The squirrel had taken it from our plant, managed to get it up here on the deck, and then he took about 3 bites out of it and he's left it. Well, I said to Walter, let's leave it here. Maybe it'll deter him from going for the other ones. Maybe he'll finish that. Probably not. But we'll have to keep our eyes open on this to make sure he doesn't eat our other tomatoes as well. Next year, an electric fence. That'll do them. You know, nothing like a roasting chipmunk on an open fire kind of deal. So, yep, that's how our garden is looking now in late August. And I'll be sad to see it go because I really like sitting out here, and it's just the greenery of it all looks so nice. Although right now things are looking a little overgrown.
So, what's coming up? Well, I already mentioned that I have an interview and a store tour with Kawartha Quilting that happens this coming Saturday. I'm looking forward to it because you know that that's one of my favorite quilting stores in my area. And I asked Zach, the owner, uh, if I could do this, and he was excited about the prospect. Um, and so we've got it all planned out, and I'm going to be doing that on Saturday. And that's why I have those new microphones and everything. And I hope all my technology works. When you depend on technology the most, that's when it lets you down. So hopefully everything will be fine. My plan is Walter will be our cameraman. And yeah, we'll talk to Zach and all about his business as he tours us around the store. And it's a really cute store. It's in a kind of a log cabiny kind of house sort of thing. It's really cool. So that's coming up. Um, Also next Saturday, Ultimate Sewing is having their open house. They haven't been able to have an open house because of COVID, so for the last few years. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to make it. And that's when people, if they want to sign up for classes, can. Um, but I've made other arrangements for that, so that should be good. And we are off to London. I wish it was London, England, but it's London, Ontario. That's about 4 hours away from us, maybe a little less than that. And yeah, we're going on a shopping trip. We've got a hotel booked in downtown London for 2 nights. On our way there, we're going to stop at some fabric stores. I've already outlined our route and everything and where we're going to stop. And I intend to drop a bundle on fabric. Now, do I need no more fabric? No, it's a want. It's never a need, it's a want. But I love fabric shopping, and it's going to cost me. But you want to know something? I'm prepared for that. Um, I've got my pennies all saved up, and you will be seeing this experience. I hope. I think we'll be talking about it on So Chatty on Friday. I'm hoping to be able to take video of each of the stores we drop into. I have a tendency to get so excited when I'm looking at the fabric that I forget to take video. Also, sometimes stores don't want you doing that. So I guess I'll have to ask if they mind if I do some video. And if there's other customers in the store at the same time, I don't want to be intrusive on their shopping time, that kind of thing. So we'll see what I can manage to cobble together from this trip. But we're also excited for the fact that we're just getting away. It's overdue. We need a trip. We're not prepared to fly anywhere still. It's still a mess, with the way flying in Canada is these days and whatnot. So we're holding off on that. We do tend to go on a major trip next year. The Canadian Quilters Association is having their national quilt show in Halifax, Nova Scotia, next June. We've already booked the hotel for that. We will be driving there. The East Coast is very accessible by car. I mean, yeah, it's a few hours to drive, but it's not like trying to drive across to the West Coast. East Coast is a little closer to us. And so, yeah, we're going to go there. We'll spend a few days in Halifax for the quilt show and everything. And then we'll probably go to Prince Edward Island. We'll probably go down to New Brunswick and, come back, probably stop at Quebec City or something like that, maybe Montreal. So I don't know. But right now I knew that we had to get the hotel booked because they will fill up very quickly because of the National Quilt Show in June. So we're well prepared for it. So we've got that out of our hair. So come next spring, we'll plan the rest of the trip from there. Um, and get accommodation more than anything set up, plan it out a little bit better than it's planned right now as to what we're going to see. But in the meantime, we'll have to do with our little trip, 2-day trip to London, Ontario. Okay, just one other final note before I sign off. This disturbed me this morning. There is a lady. Now, I don't even know if this person actually exists. Okay? This is what you would call a troll. This person has been writing comments on my videos that are ignorant. They're meant to be upsetting. They're just a shit disturber. Okay. And at first, when I saw the comments, they were written in such a way I thought, okay, well, you're entitled to your opinion, kind of a thing. But the latest comment basically said that I was an a-hole in the things that we have discussed, the things I say here, the things that Walter and I say on Stephen and Walter Live. Now, as I said, everybody is entitled to their opinion. That's fine. You don't have to agree with whatever we're saying. We're not trying to force ideas down anybody's throat. And, constructive criticism is always welcome, but what she was writing was not constructive. It was meant to hurt. So I eliminated her. She's gone. Bye-bye. And, I guess if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Well, that's not completely true. I don't mind people, most of the people who subscribe and watch my channel on a regular basis, when they make a comment, the comment adds to the discussion. And that's great. I want that. She wasn't adding anything to the discussion. Like I said, I don't even know if it was a she or not. She had a strange name, Hazel Ann or something. I don't know. Anyway, she doesn't exist anymore on my channel. And I just, if someone, I have to remind myself sometimes, and possibly other people, this is my channel. Nobody's paying for this. Yes, I make a little bit of revenue from the monetization. Most YouTube creators do. But it's hardly enough. I mean, I just got paid for the last month now. I'll tell you how much I made. I made $140. Yay. And the American government, even though I'm Canadian, takes tax from whatever I make on that too. 30%. Yeah. So I'm not making millions of dollars here. All right. I do this because this is a hobby. I enjoy it. I've met a lot of wonderful people through my channel as well, and that's great. I love the dialogue between them with me. So that's all good. But if I get somebody like this one, this troll, I will delete them because it's my channel and I have the power of the delete key. So I've used it on this person. And I hope that's the end of hearing from her because she was not contributing. Anyways, I just thought I'd bring that up. Just so you know that, yes, I'm the boss of me and I'm the one who controls what happens on my channel. So maybe that sounds arrogant, but it's the reality. It's the reality. And I'm not alone in that. All YouTube creators, we spend the time. It's our baby. We're going to look after it. Okay. So I hope you have a great week. I'm excited about going away, even if it's just to London, Ontario. And yeah, and you'll hear all about it, possibly at the end of the week on So Chatty, and for sure next week on the vlog. And so have a great one. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.